Good morning.
Hi. Good morning.
Good morning. I see a few new faces. That's awesome. Let me let everybody in, okay? We have Ethel, Jorge, Sal. Thanks for coming to the meeting, guys. So is everyone looking forward to this weekend?
Yes.
Any exciting appointments?
I hope we will make an offer.
I hope so too, Ethel. Yeah, you're praying for your weekend. So Ethel's been working with some clients and she's being an amazing realtor and showing them every house that they're asking, and she's hoping to pin them down on one today. So hopefully that works out for her. Everybody shoot out your good vibes for her this weekend. All right. It looks like I think we have everybody on here now. So thank you guys for joining. I really appreciate you coming in and checking out this meeting, not just for myself, but for yourself, because I'm a huge advocate of, continued education. And I think it's really important for us not to just do the minimum continued education, but to always be trying to better ourselves. And sometimes that means bettering ourselves in our careers. Sometimes it means personally, spiritually, whatever it may be. I really hope that this class gives you guys value today and you guys are able to implement it, and it's really able to help grow your business. So with that, I will go ahead and jump right in. Now, the last training that we did on CMAs, we actually only covered how to get comparables for a CMA. Now, if you're about to go out into a listing appointment and you want to learn what do I need to do to actually have like a CMA packet, something to present to the client, we have this wonderful little system, the Flex MLS. So sometimes GetBar will change our MLS system, and if the MLS system changes, then this video specifically won't apply if it's a different system. But for the most part, most MLS programs that are provided to the Association of Realtors are going to have basically like a quick CMA setup for you, okay? And so this is where you're gonna find ours using the Flex MLS. Okay, so we're gonna go into menu, and right under search, I can see CMA.
Denise, can you share your screen?
Oh, thank you for that. I thought I was sharing already.
Okay.
Okay. Thanks, Ethel. I'm thinking you guys are looking at the exact same thing I'm looking at. Okay, here it is. You see it now?
Yeah.
Okay. So on this screen, on this MLS, you're gonna see under menu, I just hit menu, and then under search, you're gonna see CMA. However, on mine, you see that there's a little gold star next to it. So in the MLS, you have the option to star any of these categories. And when you star it, what it does is it shows up on your main screen right up here in this tab, in this area. So it's kind of a shortcut. So if there's anything that you guys use on this menu bar a lot, put a star on it. That way it can show up here as a shortcut. And every time you go into your MLS, you're not searching for that one thing that you look at every single day. Okay? As realtors, we have to be as efficient as possible with our time. So these little shortcuts might seem like they don't do a whole bunch, but over time, those 30 seconds here, a minute there that you're using looking for something that you use way too often to be looking for, they start to add up. So I'm just gonna go ahead and hit CMA. And it says create a CMA via a search or load a saved CMA. So when I hit on CMA, you're gonna see all the CMAs that, that I've done and saved in here. Okay, so that's cool because it's also a little database of, there might be days where I'm like, oh, what can I do? Oh, I can prospect. And I can come in here and see the CMAs that I've done and go, Calle Parque. I never closed on Calle Parque. Who is this one for? And I'll go in and I'll start looking at it and, okay, this was from April of 2020. Maybe I should reach out and see if they ever sold or find out if it sold, okay? So always a good idea to save your CMAs. Now to create a new one, down here, well, I guess I can cover all of this. If you need to edit any of them, you're just gonna highlight it and you're gonna hit edit. You can rename and you can also remove. So if you wanna clean it up, you can highlight it and remove it. But today we're creating a new one. So we're gonna click on that. And we are going to do a regular residential CMA. And on statistical average field, so this one, it's going to give you basically like a shortcut of what is it that you want to measure first. And it's giving me the square footage. So I'm just going to hit next, and that's fine because, does anybody remember what makes it a true comparable? What are we measuring the subject property by? Like, in order for it to be a comparable for the house, what do we have to look at?
At the CAD to see the square footage?
What? We have to look at the square footage. We have to look at the year built.
The year built.
We have to look at the neighborhood, the area that it's in. We have to look at the style. We have to look at similar amenities in the home. So we're just comparing apples to apples. You're gonna hear that a lot. Apples to apples, apples to apples. Don't compare an apple to an orange. Don't compare an apple to a lemon. Apples to apples, as close as you can possibly get to that, okay? So for this CMA, we're gonna be doing a CMA on the property 3800 Idalia Avenue, okay? There you go. This thing's kind of in my way. Okay. And now here, this actually needs to change. Okay. So see, that was the old company that I was with, but now I am with Realty. All right, and I do want to update this because it is going to come out on the CMA. So when you're doing your comparable, do it to the best of your ability. If there's something in there that's off, a date, something that's misspelled, fix it, because remember, this is basically going to create a presentation for you. So it's made it so that it's really easy. All you have to do is plug in the information, and then it's going to generate a really cute presentation for you that's now you can take it to your client. It's very nice, a nice package. Okay, so we're gonna go to the next step. And as you could see, there was you can add comments on that last one. So I was about to, don't go back. If you need to go back into another page, go into previous step. Mapping no locations. Okay, we're gonna do that here in a second. Okay, it's not letting me go back just because I need to enter information. But basically, I just wanted you guys to know that there was an area on there where you could add comments. So, you know, if there's a note that you would like for the CMA to say at the front of the page or anything like that, you can add it in there. For example, you could say, this comparative market analysis was prepared for Mr. Fernakis of Lulu Lots, and that's the owner of the property. Okay.
In the address number 1.
Yes, we're gonna put the address again on number 1.
But where do you put the comments?
It was on cover page.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, this is El Paso and 79930. All right, so here it also lets me add in some additional information. Number of bedrooms. So this property is a little interesting because it actually has 2 buildings. It has the main building, the main home, and then it has like a mother-in-law quarter, like a detached studio. So just keep that in mind as we're doing the CMA. And so this is why it's important also for you guys to have as much information about the property as possible before doing your CMA. So if somebody calls you and they're asking you for a CMA on their home that they're considering selling, don't just say, yes, okay, I got you, and let me set up a listing appointment. Ask some questions about the property first, because they'll give you more information than we can find online. They're living inside of their home. Most of the information that we have is very generic. So in a situation like this where there's a main home and then there's a mother-in-law quarter separate that's livable, that's very important information. But imagine I didn't have that going into this, and all I knew was it's a 4-bedroom, 2-bath. I would be thinking that, okay, it's probably, you know, certain size home. And then if I do my square footage is actually, let's see, what is it? It's 920 plus
It's 1438.
So all of this is the property address here. You really do want to start with at least all of this information, okay? Now we're gonna hit you can always add information here also. You see you have add item, you can remove an item, and then you can also save or replace your template. So if you go in and you remove one of these, you can save it as your new template. Like let's say for example, I didn't want it to say acres. I can save and replace that template. But that's going to be a class for another time, okay? So now it's trying to track where this property is, and it's given me a pin on a map. It's really important for you guys to take the time to actually look at the map. Don't just hit use this location without looking at the map. We want to make sure that this...
How did you get the map? Because
I just hit next step and it popped up.
Okay.
So if this little pin is in the wrong place, you can pick it up by clicking on it, holding, and moving it. Okay? If it's in the wrong place, you need to look at the map and find where it belongs and pin it in the right place.
What do you mean if the pin is not in the location house? You mean that?
Yes. If it's not in the right place, you need to move it.
In so many times it didn't write the location?
It's possible. I would say like every 1 in 10 times maybe it's not pinned in the right place and you have to move it yourself.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Well, remember it's still a computer. It's gonna make mistakes. Also, sometimes the information that they're taking was taken from somebody else that inputted it incorrectly. So like if somebody had put this house in as a listing before and they didn't map it correctly, for me, it's automatically going to generate with their wrong mapping from the last time.
But I'm not good in the maps.
Well,
really?
You're going to have to figure it out. It doesn't happen super often, Ethel, but if and when it does, you need to know how to fix it.
You can also use your GPS from your phone and you zoom out and zoom in, and then you can just pinpoint it, make it easier on you. Yeah. I mean, if it's wrong in there.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, so now it's asking me, where am I going to take my comparables? And thank you for that. I didn't see who said that, but thank you.
Carlos.
Carlos, thank you. Okay, so I like to do my search under quick search. You all can choose to, do it under mapping or quick search, or this one, these two I really don't use much. I usually just go to quick search. So if I go to mapping, it's gonna automatically give me the radius of what we have in this box. So I can do that to show you. That I want it 1 mile, and then I'm going to hit find comps, and it's going to give me that mile radius. If I go to quick search, it's just going to take me to the quick search page. Now I've got 79 results. That's obviously way too many. So I'm going to go into edit search. And there's some other information that I need to plug in to only get the comparables that I'm looking for. What makes a true comparable is a closed sale. So I'm only looking at closed comparables. I want to see what year was built, and I want my comparable properties to be within 5 years, newer or older, of the year that the property was built. So
1 year before?
7 and 1977.
No, it's 42, so it's 37 and 50 and 47.
47. Thank you, Ethel.
Thank you. 10 years.
All right, so year built, and then we're gonna go to what else am I looking for? I'm looking for
refrigerated air, because this house has refrigerated air. The cooling.
Okay, hold on. We're jumping steps, Ethel. Let's do the basics first, because those are the most important. So we do want to look at that, but that's gonna be once we start doing the adjustment cost. Right now we want to look at the basic frame and structure of it. So we're looking at years, location, date sold, square footage. So let's get those first. Now our square footage is gonna be, you had given it
1438 was
1438.
sorry, 1238 and 1638.
So for square footage, rule of thumb is you can go 300 square feet less or 300 square feet more. I usually try to look for something within 200 square feet less or more, just because honestly 300 square feet is a lot. So if I can find it within 200 square feet, I think that that's a little more ideal. Okay, so I usually start my search kind of tight when it comes to square footage. So now we're down to 5 results, and I'm gonna go check out my list because that's a pretty short list, and I want to see how comparable these properties are.
I have a question, Denise. Is the square feet is 200 less and 200 plus?
Yes.
The subject.
Yes. Okay, so this is my first comparable, and what I do is I just go through the pictures. So what I know about my subject property is that it was completely remodeled. It's a main unit, like I said, and a studio unit out in the back. And I'm actually going to show you guys because I want you to follow along and tell me what you think is a good comparable and what you don't think is a good comparable. So I'm going to show you what the property looks like right now, okay?
Denise, and 10 years is not too much? The comparable for 10 years is not too much?
You're not going to do 10 years. You're going to do 5 less and 5 more.
Okay.
Okay. So this is what the property looks like. This actually happens to be the home that we went to do the showcasing training. So for those of you that have seen it from the inside, you have an extra advantage because let's face it, when you're inside of the property versus when you look at the pictures, it's still very different. That's why I recommend when you do a comparative market analysis and you're offering it to a client, if you have not seen the house in person, do not give them a number without having seen the house in person. You want to give them a range of numbers. You want to say, okay, based off my comparative analysis, your home might be worth anywhere between 150 and 160, 150 and 165, whatever your range looks like. And this is actually going to be a little ninja tip for you guys. That will actually help you get in the door when it comes to getting the listing presentation. So if you are talking to a potential client, a potential selling client, do your comparative market analysis, but give them a range. You never want to go into their home and already know what the number is without having looked at the house. They will catch up on that, they'll catch on to it. And they'll say, how did you, like, you hadn't even seen the house yet. How did you come up with that number? And the truth of the matter is, until we see the house, we really don't have a clear understanding of what that home is worth. So because we can go based off pictures, we can go based off square footage, but once you get inside the house, what is the one thing that you didn't know up until you went inside of the house? Does anybody know? The one thing that you really, truly, honestly didn't know, I heard somebody about to say something.
The condition, the inside, the condition of the inside.
Yes, the condition. Thank you, Carlos. If you don't know the condition of the property, how can you truly value it? You can't. So don't ever go in anticipating that it's going to be an amazing condition. Don't ever go in anticipating that it's going to be in bad condition. Just go in open to see what is the true condition of it. You also have to stay open to it because this is part of your job as a listing agent. You have to look at the condition and then coach and train your client on what they need to do to bring the property up to its best condition in order to sell it, whatever's within their means. Some people want to sell as is, they don't want to touch it, they don't want to do anything, but most people do want to actually do something to it. They understand and know that there's a preparation phase to selling a home. So yes, there's rules to the exception always, but for the most part, they're looking for you to help them prepare their home to be shown in the best light. So do that. Take the time to do that. All right, so now we're inside of the house. I just kind of want to give you guys a quick glance at what it looks like inside. It got remodeled, has granite countertops, new kitchen, new cabinets, new flooring, new doors, new windows, completely remodeled bathroom. We've got a good sized lot back here. And then we have a separate studio. This is a 1-bedroom, 1-bath, also has a complete kitchen, complete new cabinets, granite countertop. We've got a fully remodeled restroom in here as well. And then it's a corner lot. We have a lot of street parking. And since it's a corner lot, you got additional parking here. Okay, so just a general overview of what that looks like. Let me go back into the one that we were working on. All right, so realtors that have been in the game for a while, if it doesn't show pictures of the home inside, what can we expect?
We cannot work.
Somebody said something, but I didn't hear.
Oh, we cannot work if you don't see the house inside.
Well, it's gonna be
CMA.
It's going to be really hard for you to say that this is a comparable property without looking at the inside, because I have no idea if this home is move-in ready or has it had updates. It's going to be really hard to use this one. So if I don't have to use this one, I don't want to use this one. Okay, so I'm just going to skip that one.
Denise, I have a question.
Uh-huh.
Only because I missed it. Maybe you did mention it, but when you were setting the parameters for the years, the square footage, the bedrooms, and then you got to the point where you were doing the radius, a quarter or rather a mile. mile radius. And then you selected the comparables to be the closed ones, not active or pending, just simply closed.
Yes.
Did you set, I think, maybe I missed it, but did you set a parameter for it closed within a year, it closed within 6 months or anything like that, or just closed?
Good question. I do have a parameter set within a year, and that's my default. And actually, right now, it goes to my default, but I'm actually only really trying to look at comparables that have closed since March. So I'll usually start with these parameters, but I'll probably go back in and actually go back to March. So typically, just for the sake of what can go within a CMA, you can look at homes sold within the year. But being in the market that we're in, well, it's not too much if your market has been very steady for that year and there hasn't been too many drastic changes, then it's not too much. But in our market right now, there was a very drastic shift in about March of this year. So you really want to be cognizant of the fact that, well, there's been a shift, and in order to be a true comparable, if I want to make sure that I'm getting the truest value possible, I probably should be sticking to the properties that have sold since March of 2020. And that's tough sometimes because sometimes we don't have a whole lot of comparables. If you really can't do it, then at least try to recognize the pattern that happened before March of 2020 and after March of 2020. Because you'll notice that in 2020, prices started to increase a lot quicker. So you want to at least notice the pattern so that you can better assess the situation. Okay. So now this is the first comparable that I'm seeing. It looks like they've done like a semi remodel maybe. Let me see. Okay, they updated the bedrooms. The flooring actually looks really good, but it looks like it's original floor. We've got new fixtures, we got new bathroom. We got a nice little kitchen. Okay, that's new flooring right there for sure. That's tile. Okay, this is a pretty good comparable. Yeah. That's a pretty good comparable for sure. Okay. And it has a unit in the back. So now what I notice about the back unit is that it is boarded up. So this is a pretty good comparable, but I have to keep in mind that this building back here, I'm almost positive that it's not livable. And remember, our property has a livable property in the back. I'm gonna hold on to this one because this is a pretty good comparable so far. And I'm gonna go into the detail sheet and see if it tells me anything about that back unit, because there's more information that I would like. Let me see if in the comments it might say something about it, okay? Okay, it doesn't say anything about it. And that tells me something. It tells me if they didn't say anything about it, it's probably not livable. My hunch is probably correct. It's probably not a selling point, okay? But for me, it gives me, okay, well, if the single house by itself up in the front is 136.5, now I'm guessing that this is going to be on the low side of my comparables because this is missing an entire house. Okay, let's go to the next one. 3026 Lebanon.
Sorry, Denise,
yes.
But the square footage of the main is 200 square footage less, more or less, than the one.
Than the entire building? Yes.
Yeah.
But there is also a value in having two separate houses.
Yes, I understand. Okay, yeah.
So right now, like, remember, there's also, you have to narrow. So right now we're right here. We're on another layer of narrowing. We'll get deeper and deeper and deeper as we narrow down, okay?
Okay.
So let's go into Lebanon. Okay, it looks like it might have gotten repatch of stucco and paint outside. Those look like original wood floors, refurbished. Okay, the kitchen is not updated, but it's not original either. How can I tell?
Because of the times.
Yep, because of the times. You can tell by the tile. This tile was being used around the 1990s, late 1990s. So they've had some work done to it. Yep. They have the the porcelain white countertop, these big beige looking tiles. So it has been updated at some point, but it's still out of date today. This looks like a separate unit in the back, and it has its own meters. That's really cool. Why?
Because you can
You can rent it, yeah.
Yes, you can
rent
rent
the
it out and they
house.
won't use your utilities. So that's pretty
Yes.
cool.
Mhm.
This is the only picture that I have of the oh no, just kidding. They just set these pictures up weird. Okay, so this is the main house looks like. That ceiling fan is old too. So far I'm gauging that maybe the space, the location are pretty similar. The setup is similar. That's real outdated. Look at that emerald green tub. Whoever bathed in there probably felt like a goddess though. That's awesome. Okay. Okay, so here's our kitchen. So again, what sells a house? Kitchen and restrooms. If your kitchen and restrooms are updated, your house will sell. If it's not selling, you've probably overpriced it. And if your kitchen and restrooms are amazing and it's not selling, it's probably overpriced. But this is a pretty nice kitchen. I mean, it is a little outdated, but it looks like it's in pretty good condition. Of course, I won't know until I actually step inside, and I'm not going to step inside. This is just a comparable. But I'm also seeing that the area looks pretty clean, so that gives me a general sense of the condition of the property also. You know, they at least took the time to clean it. So, and being that it looks older, it really doesn't look beat up and out of shape. So I'm going to keep this as a comparable. The one thing that I did notice is they didn't really have pictures inside of this unit. It looked like they had a lot of pictures of the main unit, but not a whole bunch of the unit in the back. So I'm going to hold on to this one, but this one gives me the same feeling that this one does. The main unit is livable. It actually looked like the main unit on this second one might have been livable also, but if they're not willing to put pictures, that's usually a little yellow flag saying like, oh, there's probably something going on there that makes it not move-in ready. I will go into my details and make sure I haven't missed anything, because remember, realtors talk to each other on the MLS first. So if you ever have questions about a property, please go into your confidential remarks and read the listing details first before you call the agent. That way, you know, they know that you took the time to at least go in there and check it out.
And it has a basement.
Mm-hmm. So it talks about the basement, but it doesn't talk about the unit in the back.
Mm-hmm.
So again, I'm gonna have to just kind of tread with caution with this comparable. And I'm thinking that it's gonna be more similar to this one just because they didn't talk about that back unit. Because that's a huge selling point if you do have a back unit. All right, let me check out these pictures now. We've got no pictures inside, so I'm going to stay away from that one. All right, and then we've got this one on Monroe. Oh, that's cute. That looks very similar to ours from the front.
Mm-hmm.
Very cute curb appeal. Okay, it looks like we have the original wood floors. We've got a nice refaced fireplace. Granite countertops. Oh, that's a cute kitchen. Okay. It looks like, I'm not sure if that's tile. I think it is. They redid the restroom. Cute. Okay, here's a second unit in the back, and it's unfinished. Oh, I really want to go inside of one of these second units. So this, again, it's a pretty good comparable considering that they did redo the interior of the house. They do have the granite countertops. They have the remodeled restrooms. I will say that I'll say that the quality looks a little different, maybe a little less than our listing, just because, for example, on your kitchen, on your restroom, you see the tile that was used in this restroom, it almost looks just like regular flooring tile. A lot of times, if there's a beginning investor that's trying this out, for the first time, they're looking for the best way to cut costs. And it's not right or wrong, but it's something that I notice. And if I notice, your clients are going to notice it also. So, for example, this tile, I could be wrong, but it looks like it's just regular flooring tile. It doesn't look like an appealing backsplash in your tub. It just kind of looks like they went with the cheapest that they can find. They didn't do an accent tile the way that most new home builders do. And when you go in to remodel a home, what you're trying to do is you're trying to take whatever the home has and bring it up to date at the same time that you're also fixing anything that's wrong with it, updating electricity, plumbing, all that good stuff. So it really should, if they just redid this house, it really should look more up to date at this point. It doesn't look super up to date. It does look move-in ready. It looks really nice, but just kind of things to keep in mind. I would still put this as a comparable, but as a low comparable, okay? So now I've selected 3 comparables that I feel kind of comfortable with. Unfortunately for me, these are all low comparables. They're all missing that 3rd unit in the back, and none of them are really up to the same grade of upgrade as the house that we're working on right now. So of the 5, I selected 3. I do want to narrow this search and only keep the 3. I want to get rid of the other 2 that are no good to me anymore. And I'm going to go back into the search. I need to find more comparables. That's not enough. Those 3 came in very low and they're not true comparables. So I need to do something. I need to broaden up my search and see what I can find. Okay. So this is a good one for you guys to learn on because it's a difficult one. It's not an easy peasy, like we have 1,000 of these houses on the block. Something that I can do is I can broaden up my square footage because I started tight to begin with and see if anything else comes up. So I'm just gonna add 100 square feet plus or minus. And it did give me a few results. So let me go in there and see what that looks like. Okay, this one on Chester, this is new. I did not see this one before. Okay, so they clearly did the exterior of this. This looks very cute. Very cute curb appeal. I don't know if they added, oh, I'm pretty sure they added that in. That looks very cute. Okay. Good, they have a nice little driveway. I like that. They've got space in the backyard. Okay. They've got plantation shutters. Those look like they're the original wood floors. Oh, the kitchen. Oh, I was getting so excited. Oh, that's a full room with wood panels. Oh my gosh, this green room.
Denise,
Man, the outside of the house was so deceiving.
Denise,
Yes.
we need to leave because we have appointment at 12 o'clock.
Okay.
But-
So it's being recorded, Ethel. I need to get through this CMA as best as I possibly can.
It's Leticia, it's not
we
me.
have Leticia. Okay, I'm sorry about that. Let me finish up with you guys. So, okay, I'm going to have to, for the sake of time, I'm just gonna give you guys a couple more properties to add to the list. You know what? I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna keep the ones that I have for right now, and I'll come back and play with it later, okay? So now I'm going to return listings to CMA.
Return.
Now it's gonna take all of those comparables, all these comparables that I had picked. You saw where I did that? It said return listings to CMA over on the top right corner, and then it added them to this other tab that I already had going on. I'm gonna go to next step. Now in this next step, you can add the adjustments to the property. For example, if the property that you're looking at has refrigerated air and all of these have evaporative cooling, I would personally add about $5,000 plus. So I would add that in here. Okay.
Adjust.
And then I'm gonna go to next step. And here it's gonna give me a nice little breakdown of everything that I have. I have my comparables, their list price, their sold price, their days on market, total adjustments, and then it see how it took my sold price from 137.5 to 142.5 because I adjusted that comparable. We're gonna have our low, average, median, and high numbers here. And then down here we have sold dollars per square foot, average sold dollars per square foot, average days on market. These are numbers that you all want to be familiar with because what's one of the pieces of information that you have to give the client? How long more or less the property is going to be on the market. If it's going to be on the market more or less 90 days, that's your average right there. That's where you get it from. Okay, next step. On here, you're gonna have the last page, which is your recommendations. Okay, so I've got my low, I've got my high, and I've got my recommended value here. Okay, these you can adjust. For example, if my recommended value is 134,633, that's a little difficult for the client to know and wrap their head around. Why don't we just round that up to 135? That's really what we're trying to say, right? Now we're gonna go to next. And on here, this is something that you guys have to take the time to look at and explore and see what works for you. So they have a default CMA. Whatever the default was, I no longer have. I went through and I saw, what does the map of subject and comparable properties look like? What does this look like? And you can view it right here where it says view and get a preview of what it's going to print out looking like. So if I don't like what it looks like, I can go back and say, okay, this is on the first page map of subject and comparable properties. Look at how cool that is. This is where our subject property is. This is where our comparables are. And then it's going to give you the breakdown here. It's going to give you the subject properties information here. It's going to give me pictures. It's going to give me the line by line comparison here. It's going to give me these nice, easy to read graphs. And if I like what I see and I want to add everything in here, I'm just going to go back to that tab. I'm going to save it, download it, email it, do whatever it is that I need to do with it. But first, check it out. If there's anything you don't like, come back in here, check or uncheck, whatever it is that you like, go back in, view it until it looks the way you want it to look. Now you can come by the office, print it out, put it in a nice little folder. Don't just take it like that, at least in a little manila folder. And that's going to be that is going to help you present the value of the property. Only the value of the property. There's still other things you have to present to the listing, to the seller that day on your listing presentation. So if you want to learn what else goes into your listing appointment, how to close the deal, how to get the listing, keep coming to these trainings, because we will go over everything else you have to go over. We talked about coaching the client and how to prepare the home. We have to talk to coaching the client on what to do and not to do whenever we're showing the home. We have to prepare them for what to expect, fees, costs, commissions, all of that goes into something separate. So anybody have any questions before we end this training?
I like the CMA because I used to make different, totally different.
Okay, nice.
But this is more
Professional.
detail. Thank you very
Good.
much.
Awesome. Thank you for that, Leticia.
Bye. See
All
you.
right. Bye, everybody. Thank you so much for stopping by. I wish you all a super productive weekend. I hope you guys sell a lot. And let me know if you need anything. We'll be here to help, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.